Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening to the show. Before we get into the episode, I want to remind you that every week there are two brand new episodes of Have You Heard This available. One is right here for free wherever you listen to podcasts, and the second is a bonus episode for subscribers at patreon.com/Aaron Hertzog. If you like the show, or me, or my guest, it's a great way to show support for as little as $5 per month. If you're here because my guest sent you, then great news. I give half of the proceeds from all new subscribers this week to my guest as a way to say thanks for being on my show. So head on over to patreon.com/Aaron Hertzog and sign up for weekly bonus podcasts, a download of my stand-up comedy album, comedy videos, and more. The link is available in the description of the episode. Thanks again for listening, and on to the show.
Yeah. I leave the meeting.
Yeah.
This is a GA meeting. I watch these poker blog things sometimes where it's just people would play in casinos and they show their hands, and it's fun because I used to play a lot.
Yeah.
And this actually fills that void of playing, which is probably healthy. Anyways, I was watching a live stream of a poker event, and first I'm hearing like a little shh. First, I commented everyone should have to kiss after every hand, and I got put in timeout for 5 minutes.
Probation.
And then I commented, now that I'm out of timeout, I would like to ask everyone, wouldn't it be crazy if they ate the chips and someone said, not those kind of chips? Everyone would laugh. And I got put in timeout. And then I came back in and said I voted 4 times in the 2020 election. And no timeout.
No time.
And then I got straight up blocked for saying, what religion does everyone think is correct?
You can't troll poker feeds. It's very serious business.
It is crazy how serious they're. Did you people like? Is he shuffling his chips too much? And it's like, what's going on? We're all watching these people in Texas play.
Do you think that's because he's Catholic?
I think I commented something like, "Do you guys remember when Borat said hello?" Just like absolute nonsense, but requires people to read a long thing.
I used to play a lot of poker as well, as I think most white guys near our age probably did. And I used to read a lot of poker blogs, strategy, news. World Series of Poker every year was on a delay. They didn't air it until months after. So I would read those poker blogs in the summertime, trying to figure out what was going on. I had this summer job at my school at college, and I was reading a poker blog, and one of my coworkers, like, the real people who work there, not just the student workers, was like behind me, like looking at my screen. And I was just like, oh, I'm reading about poker. And then after she left, I looked at the screen and realized there was a huge banner ad that was just a close up of a pussy. It was just porn. And I had just been reading results for like the high low $10,000 buy-in, like not even
winning the Raz bracelet.
Numb to the pornography that was right in front of me.
I think the poker blogs know who's perusing. So, I think they probably do pretty well with the turnover for those ads. It's not like it's an ad for Casper mattresses. These are air mattress people. So
I'm also 95% sure that I played poker with Sid Caesar once.
Really?
Yeah, literally 95% sure. I went to Atlantic City with like a couple comedian friends, and we were playing like low stakes, like $2, $4 like limit hold'em. And there was a guy there who was old, and I thought that he looked like because at the time I was like, oh, he looks like the guy from the end of National Lampoon's Vegas Vacation.
Yeah, the guy
Sid Caesar, right? Mm-hmm. And we start like talking to him. We're like chopping it up. There are like guys who are at the table taking it way too seriously. We're all like making fun of these guys.
Yeah.
He asks one of my friends like, what are you guys here for? Like, are you at a bachelor party or what? And he was like, oh, we're comedians. We're just down here for the day and he was like, oh, comedians, eh? And like, then got like really suspicious. My buddy asked him his name, and he gave like a really fake name.
Yeah.
Like an obvious fake name.
Like Johnny Money.
Well, this comes, I forget what the name was, but it plays back into the story later. Then I won a pot, and as I was raking in the chips, I said his famous line from the end of National Lampoon's Vegas Vacation. I go, I won the money, like he says before he croaks in the movie, and he winked at me when I said it. So then later we're doing research, and we find out that the name he gave us, I forget what it was, like, whatever, is the name of a character from a famous Sid Caesar sketch. So, like, I'm not 100% sure that it was Sid Caesar, but I'm pretty sure
that he's like his biggest fan, knowing these obscure characters.
Yeah, just saying the name.
They'll understand Charles Swashbuck.
Yeah, exactly. From his famous sketch, The Salesman who
You guys remember, it was one of the 3 things on TV that year.
Yeah.
Yeah, poker really had its moment. It's still trying to like be around. I think the internet and it's like, I don't know, it's not, the legalization of it in the United States is such a weird, muddy thing, but I do think it's still popular.
Yeah, it was always kind of like sort of weird to play online poker. Like all the money had to get filtered through offshore accounts and things like that.
It was like, if you can collect your money, we will put it back in your account, or we can send you a check. The check will be there in 9 years.
Yeah.
Okay. I think one time I got a check for like $44 just months after I forgot.
So much longer. My favorite thing. My favorite thing about poker was always playing in college with kids who like had obviously rich parents, and money was of no value to them.
There was a guy in the game I played in college whose brother was Dutch Boyd, who's like a pretty famous professional.
That is a name.
And Dutch Boyd came and played in the game with us one time. And
that's not fair.
Well, it's funny because he wasn't winning, but he won a ton because everyone tried to play every hand. It's like,
it's like the thing in Rounders.
They're just like, we gotta go for him, and then it's like he's just playing normal.
Yeah,
you guys are everyone's just acting insane.
It was pretty. It was a pretty
fun thing. It was weird. I remember playing before I was 18. I would buy a Visa gift card at the mall, and I would use that as my credit card on my fake. What was it? Not even Poker Stars. Something earlier than that. One of those website type of things. And then full tilt came around, and it was cool because all the pro poker players
wore the
involved.
hats.
Yeah, I remember Jesus Chris Ferguson with his big poker full tilt hat. And now there's so many people. You watch poker now, and it's just only internet guys.
Yeah, just guys who have no like actual verbal skills. And nobody.
It used to be like, this is the Dutchman, and this is Swinger McDinger, and this is the guy who wears the sunglasses that have skeleton eyes on them. And now it's just like, this is 49 Eastern European guys who won $88 million last year.
There's no way, like, it's not good on TV anymore, because they used to be able to do the stories about players in between where it's just like, this guy won $500,000 because he stayed in the ocean for 48 straight hours.
Right. Their stories were like akin to professional eaters' stories. Yeah.
They were just all degenerate gamblers who like learned a little bit of math. And now it's like all just Rain Man playing.
Every single one. Every single person is the same. And it's just not as fun as it. I do remember the personalities. This is the magician. This is the quiets. Like, everyone had their thing.
Yeah.
Which is what you need in essentially reality TV.
In a TV show. Yeah.
And now it is just imagine this happens like what if what happened to poker where it's taken over by like math spectrum guys? What if that happened to like Big Brother, the TV show, where it's just like 14 guys a little bit on the spectrum who are like, well, the best way to win is actually to fake an alliance with the third tallest person here.
I've done the math. I've run the analytic numbers. Big Brother.
I understand how the algorithm works for people going to the website to vote for who stays. It's primarily Android users, so
every
I try
single
and
thing
with green bubbles while I'm in the house.
It's just ruined by math and science.
Everything is. Everything is ruined by science.
I went to Temple University in Philadelphia.
You're just gonna tell me about like a Jewish service?
I went to Temple and we played poker after. There were these guys who started like a poker room, like they rented an apartment, like made it nice.
Yeah.
Where they were just like running an underground, like, ooh, this is like an underground poker club. And I never went because I knew what would happen. That definitely happened. It got violently robbed. This is North Philadelphia. As soon as people found out that there were a bunch of college kids with their money in a poker, it just got taken down immediately.
Yeah. Hey, we started this. Everyone puts their cash in one area, room with one exit. So you guys want to tell everyone where it is?
Yeah, it's just guys who like watched the poker episode of The Sopranos and was like, "Oh, we got to get a nice little meat spread for everybody."
They'll love it when we knock over the game.
Yeah, we'll make them sandwiches, and then it probably got robbed by just friends of theirs that just like took it down.
It was me.
Wow. Dang. And then you use that to fund your full tilt poker.
I wonder what the rake is like on the basement house.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're getting too inside.
Yeah, it's way too inside. Yeah.
That's the thing about poker, notoriously inside.
What did you come here to talk about, Kyle Ayers? Usually I like to say the guest's name first thing out of my mouth.
Do that at some point, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're talking about a bit that I had a few things because I'm really bad at like. Do you ever work on something
organizing your brain
from the thing you should work on, and then you're just down a rabbit hole of like coming up with other things? Like you're further and further from what you should be doing
constantly. Right? Yeah, okay, that's the only way my house gets cleaned.
I have this one-liner that I thought would work, and that's 0 for 1, like a hefty 0 for 1. Here it is. I know he's not a good guy, but is it still okay if we listen to R. Kelly's new podcast? That's it.
The idea that R. Kelly has a new podcast is funny.
And it's just funny. I love when people are like, can I still listen to R. Kelly? Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, can I still listen to R. Kelly?
What about the freaking Weekend song? Yeah.
Is it cool if we still listen to Michael Jackson's thoughts on what you can do with kids?
His book on parenting. Can I buy his?
Oh no, you froze.
Oh no.
The last thing you ever say is, oh no.
Am I still frozen?
No, you're not now, but it's funny if you freeze defending Michael Jackson, I never see you again.
Can I read his book on parenting? That is what I said.
But that never really works, and so I bailed on that, but I always thought that was funny.
Yeah, the R. Kelly line?
Yeah.
I think people just are waiting for you to say more.
Yeah. Which is honestly the opposite of what normally happens.
Yeah.
Like, I wish
just can't wait for you to stop.
Okay, so I have two sort of thoughts that are very separate. The first one is a very rough thing that I've actually never done at a stand-up show because I keep forgetting. It is about how the Encyclopedia has a website.
Mm-hmm.
Like Encyclopedia Britannica.com is a website.
Yeah.
And all of their recent searches are just like stuff old people think it's the internet. Like the it's just for old people. Here's the top 5, and this is actually true. Here's the top 5 popular things on the Britannica website: Elon Musk, Warren Buffett, ecliptic, just the word, and then John Wayne Gacy and the Vietnam War. So I don't know, like, this is just people who don't really understand how the internet works.
This is people going there using it like it's Google.
Yes, exactly. Here's a recent feature on why Pluto is no longer a planet. I don't understand. So it got me thinking. I think it's crazy the Encyclopedia has a website. This is like when Blockbuster tried to make a streaming service.
A Netflix. Yeah, exactly.
And we're like, what? So then I'm picturing, you remember when there were hardbound encyclopedias?
And they sold them door to door.
Encyclopedias. You'd say sell them door to door. But then someone would have to write it. A team. Do you think the person who put in the entry for the internet for the first time was like, oh, we're fucked? Like, do you think they were like, it's like digging your own grave? They're like typing.
Yeah.
They get Britannica is like, this is a way that everyone can share information that updates regularly, and there's no need to buy a book. Like, it's like he's writing the thing that will destroy his career.
Oh, that is sad.
You ever train your replacement at work?
Do you ever have to document?
This is like when a team drafts a quarterback and their quarterback is like, I thought we were good. I'm getting a little old. I don't really know where to go with the bit, but I'm just like fascinated with the idea of
just the idea of it.
Right. Typing up a physical article about the internet.
Yeah.
It's like to me.
It's like a guy installing like a if they made like a cashier install the self-checkout machine.
That is that is what it's like. The cashiers putting the self-checkout machines in are like, what are these?
What does this do?
What's this gonna do? And they're like, oh, I hope you like scanning your barcode.
Also, like, you already made the perfect analogy of like when Blockbuster tried to make its own streaming service.
Right.
Because that's it.
Right. No, you were the other thing and you didn't do it fast enough.
Yeah. A book to an internet to, is there anything that adapted well?
To the internet,
or that didn't hold on in anything, in any sort of like, were there
weird. The internet existed.
Companies?
The internet existed, and Britannica was like, no, we'll go digital. Here's 9 DVDs.
Oh yeah, and there were like,
I don't want to have to install a DVD, right, and like pick the letters to fill in zebra to read about it.
Or like I just want the internet. It was Encarta an encyclopedia.
I remember Encarta Encyclopedia being very popular.
Yeah, that was something we had. We had that in school. That was the software that our school bought, and it had some sort of like maze-based game where you like went from room to room and had to answer trivia questions. That's how we killed time.
I didn't ever learn anything from those games in school except which kids were dumb.
Yeah.
That might have been the only thing I actually learned from those games in school, was who's slow.
Because you don't remember anything from it.
It was just so wild to me that we would play. They were like, all right, we're going to do a thing where we rank everyone on how smart they are with celebratory music. Like you would win the game and it's like, and then you get to play more games on the computer because you're done. I guess a lot of school is just ranking kids on, I don't know how to describe, like very non-consistent like learning mechanisms.
Like who can do that
who's best at like process of elimination. That's all multiple choice was. It was like, I know it's not this one. I know it's not this one.
Yeah, you can learn how to take a test instead of actually just learning information.
Oh, I was so good at tests. That was the thing I was very, very good at, was like standardized tests.
I was great at school.
Yeah.
And it made me think that life was going to be a breeze too.
Yeah. So I don't have too much, with the encyclopedia, the physical encyclopedia, because part of me doesn't always love do you remember when stuff was different type of stuff? But I do like the actual imagery of someone typing up an article about the internet.
It is a great visual. Did you have like encyclopedias at home as a kid?
Yes. Yeah, I think we had the one where that's also funny to be like, all of the information in the world is either in these 26 books or this one that's as thick as two of the other. Who's getting cut? Who got cut from knowledge?
It is weird, to think of like what they fit in the recycle, because we had like I think it was Britannica. Someone sold them to us door to door. I was young, but I still remember the person being in our house, because being like, what is this person doing? Why is a stranger in our house? It stood out. And like, why are they talking to my parents this long? Why are they showing us these books? And then all of a sudden we had 2 shelves of our bookshelf just full of these things that I would
all of them
occasionally use to look up things for school.
Right. And then notate in MLA format. I remember having to do that. I don't understand, if you're going to get into door-to-door sales, do you say to yourself, what's heaviest?
What's the worst thing to lug? Yeah.
What could I possibly lug? Great. Do you have anything where there's 24 plus of them?
Yeah. I wonder what the quota is for a month of selling.
I feel like if you sell the set, you have to be done for the day, because there's no way you have another set.
Yeah. You can't fit that many.
Although cars were also, maybe that's why cars were longer then.
That's why they had those like, Lincoln Town cars that were
everything
like
was a big long trunk with curb feelers, because you had to carry around your whole set of encyclopedias.
All the knowledge in the world.
It is really, really a pessimistic view of society to say knowledge won't update enough in a year for these.
Yeah. These are going to be good. You don't have to buy these every.
No one in here will die. You buy your books like December 6th, 1941. And you're like, this stuff will never need updating. And then like Pearl Harbor's the next day. You're like, we just bought the encyclopedias.
You couldn't have waited.
These were $200. You couldn't have done this 2 days ago? That was a Monday.
A day that will live in infamy. Not in this house. In here, it is still 1941.
Yeah, like I remember when the door-to-door Encyclopedia salesman came to our house September 10th, 2001, and we bought the T and the N encyclopedias from him, and nothing ever updated. And the Osama bin L one as well, which was pretty thick even at the time. And one on Biggie lyrics that aged well. We had a whole encyclopedia on them. We had to update that thing in 2 days.
They had, yeah, I remember just like curiously reading about things on my, it's
yeah. You're like, look at this. This animal looks a little bit like a. I bet Aardvark got read a lot just because that's like a good spot. That animal had good SEO.
Yeah, it's like how I get butt dialed all the time because my name starts with 2 A's.
They were just the original SEO was being Aardvark or like AAA auto mechanics in the book.
That's probably why they named themselves that.
For Aardvarks or AAA auto mechanics?
Both.
Yeah. Probably.
Whoever.
Yeah.
Jean-Luc Aardvarkian named them after himself.
He's French.
He's French and Armenian.
But it's AARMENIAN. Yeah. Like we have to get up there even earlier. I'm not going to be behind these Argentines again. I'm happy I thought of that fast.
That is quick.
But there's something I think was like encyclopedias as a whole. I don't know why. It feels like if I say there's something with encyclopedias, it feels like I'm getting into a Brian Regan like
just like long breakdown
these books. Well, that was yeah, it would just be a super long breakdown.
Because it is very tempting. Like if you're gonna like talk about it on stage, there is like that temptation to be like how people do things now versus how people do things then, which is like a very specific genre of comedy that like you can get laughs with if you want to. And
yeah, I'd noticed the other day men and women were different, and so I was thinking about doing something about that.
That is,
I didn't have any more observations other than that, but they are.
Well, you got to get out the M and the W encyclopedias.
There has to be a stool. Yeah. Maybe I'll bring an encyclopedia. I used to do a bit where I would bring like 8 or 9 copies of Infinite Jest on stage with me, like in a briefcase. I'd have it like in a briefcase and then like some just on my person, like under a jacket, and I'd have them fall out throughout the set.
You were an encyclopedia salesman.
Yeah, but much like the encyclopedia salesman, that bit was, you know how many laughs you have to get to justify carrying copies of Infinite Jest on the subway in New York?
That is a very like Brooklyn in 2016 joke.
Yeah, it'd be fun is to write Infinite Jest on the back of your Kindle, just so everyone knows,
so they know that you're reading. Oh shit! I knew a guy who was his full-time job was being an editor for the dictionary, and I was like, how is that more than how is that a full-time job?
Yeah.
Like what? How much changes with the dictionary?
Like, he like runs in, he's like, heard a new one.
Yeah. Because like they do like those big announcements every year now. They come out on the internet of the new words that they're adding. But like, how is that more than like one meeting? Like, hey,
I was like, yeah. I like people who complain about the new words.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty much relative to all of humans. Most of them we're using are pretty new.
This is in the dictionary now. They put YOLO in the dictionary.
Right. I do remember the controversial day when they added the definition figuratively to the word literally.
To the word, yeah. Uh-huh.
That had to have been a lot of meetings. And then someone's like, this is literally the worst idea. And then they're like, we don't even know what to like do at this point.
That is a snake eating itself.
Yeah. This is figuratively the best meeting I've ever been in.
Oh shit. Do you go down like, I mean everybody does, right? But like what are your internet rabbit holes like?
I don't know if I really get into them too much.
Yeah.
I got into I've been consuming a lot of baseball things actually recently. I love weird baseball facts because have like, well, I was working on a bit about baseball as well, but I have like, I just think it's funny that it's a sport that's like more fun to just read about every day than actually watch.
Yeah.
It's just more fun to have had happened already
than to sit and watch it. Like
right.
the good thing about going to a baseball game is that it's like outside and you can like walk around.
Yeah.
It's like a social activity more than
right.
it is watching the game of baseball.
Well, even like people, you follow baseball, it's such a large trend sport. That you lose 90-0 in one game and you're like, yeah, whatever. You know what I mean? It's not like that big of a deal because it's all, what have they done this month, this year, this 8 years? Like it's all very long. But the baseball bit was basically like, it's very American that baseball is our sport because you can win by walking. And then it talks about how there's like a lot of, I was watching a Royals broadcast and the announcers have to talk all game, every game, 162 games a year.
Oh, yeah.
And that's so long. It's like, it's week 3. And the other day during a Royals broadcast, one of the announcers asked the other announcers if he'd ever been to a haunted house.
It's not even close to October.
It's not even close. He just goes, you ever been to one of these haunted houses? And the other guy goes, nope. And then they talk to him about something else. But like they're just like they're already out of things to talk about. But it's like looking at his list, it's in October.
Yeah. It really is the great American pastime.
Right.
Of just like being able to talk about nothing.
Even within it, we use arbitrary distances. We follow the imperial system. This isn't in the bit, but now I'm just thinking about it, where we use feet, which no one else uses. And then we're like, how far away should the pitcher stand? 50 feet? No, 40 feet, 4 inches. Well, what is that number? That's not a measurement at all. And then the bats are weird ounces. Plates are weird sizes. Every field is a different size.
Yeah.
And we have fields that are 100 years older than some of the other ones.
Some of them, like people can't even barely fit in the seats anymore because they're made for people of 2 centuries ago.
Yeah, right. They're made for like sticks. They just made when Babe Ruth was the biggest person on earth when he played, when those seats were made. The joke was that he was fat and he weighed like 225 pounds.
Yeah.
And he was like 6 foot 225. And they're like, can you believe the carnival man does baseball?
How is he good at any? Yeah,
it is absolute. How can he possibly do anything? He ate a hot dog today.
Yeah. He drinks a beer.
Now there's the Royals do Buck Night where hot dogs are $1.
Yeah. I saw a stat online, I think it was yesterday, and it said the attendance at the Phillies game was like 22,000 people, and it was Dollar Dog Night, and at that point in the game they had sold like 34,000 hot dogs. So
pretty sad. I once tried to eat a hot dog an inning at a Dollar Dog Night, and I was like, I'll get ahead. I'll do 6 in the first inning, and I had a hot dog and a half and threw up into my cup.
Oh God.
Yeah. The Royals were bad then too.
That fast?
Like I was like, I bought 6 at once, and I was like, I'm gonna eat all 6 of these. Famously, the Royals mascot had to go to court. Slugger with 8 R's had to go to court because he shot a guy in the eye with a hot dog out of the hot dog cannon, and he blinded a guy with a hot dog.
That's the guy's fault for not paying attention.
They really got to put a net up. And this guy, there's a court case that's literally like the people versus Slugger.
And like not the guy in the suit.
No, the mask. I think it's just the idea. Baseball is so more with like what I think about with baseball. There's like the thing about like walking, which I think is funny. There's talking about like, Babe Ruth or something. And then baseball has like so many rules. It's so hard to explain some baseball to someone because it's so many rules.
And then there's also the unwritten rules.
And then they're just like, what's the most important thing? This shit we haven't written down. Yeah. Everyone argues about the there's a huge baseball rule.
Should you bunt with a lead?
There's a rule in the baseball rule book from like 1888, which is when they first like set out all of the rules, And there's a rule about what to do if the pitcher is interfered upon by a squirrel or a bird during their pitch. And it's like if a squirrel or a bird or another animal interferes with the pitch, but the pitch is completed, the hitter has the option of whether or not they want to stick with the outcome. That's in the rule.
I want this to come into play.
I hope, but the craziest thing is that's rule 7.01.
That's like how early they got to it.
That's how early they got. So they had a meeting and they're like, all right, like 3 strikes, hit a ball with a stick, 3 strikes, 3 balls, 9 guys. And then a guy's like, what do we do if like a bird or a squirrel? I've been sitting on my hands the whole meeting. This is day 1 stuff. And then in 1962, they made a rule that said black people can play.
Yeah, that's how long it took to get.
That's not rule 8.
It's like how like what is it, the 4th Amendment that's like troops can't stay in your house, like that's how quickly they got to like nobody's sleeping over.
That is exactly what like the bit when I talk about the rules, that's like what I talk about in the bit. I'm like guns. Actually the 3rd Amendment is quartering soldiers. Okay, they're like all right, you can stay whatever you want, everyone gets a gun, no one can sleep at my house. And then they're like, are these black people? And they're like, we haven't got there yet, no one can sleep at my house.
5 golden rings,
right? It just like it took so many rules to get to these things.
Yeah. And the things they thought about versus what they didn't think about.
It really shows you the priorities. They're like, those guys probably wrote a document that will last forever, that never needs to change. Uh-huh. And then they amended it immediately. That's like, we can't kill you for disagreeing with me.
Yeah.
Like maybe the first we should have just been part of it.
Yeah, we should have thought about this a little more before we canonized it.
Everyone gets a gun. No one's sleeping over. No one's looking through my stuff. That's the 4th one. I don't have to talk if I don't. If I'm bad. If I'm a bad guy, don't make me tell you that. And then it's like cops can't beat me up. That one really works.
Yeah.
And then it's just like 80th, like
cruel and unusual punishments there somewhere.
So far in. And then like the 12th Amendment, even they're like, all right, the president can't be president forever. And then the 13th Amendment, there's like 60 or 70 years between 12 and 13.
Yeah.
13th Amendment is like, what about those people?
Yeah.
And they're like, don't call them people yet. We're writing the thing down.
We haven't decided.
Yeah. And then 100 years later.
And it took another one. It took 2 amendments to figure that one out.
Yeah.
13 and 14.
They were like, well, what does this technically mean? It's like, I don't know. We really thought you'd shut up about this.
Yeah. We thought we gave you what you wanted.
Yeah, there's 13 and then there's 14 and then another one where they're like, can they vote?
Yeah.
Who can vote? but 3 was no one is sleeping over.
No one, unless it's vampire rules. I have to invite you.
Oh man, but that I don't know. I like talking about baseball. I just think it's like a very ridiculous thing to explain to some. I took my girlfriend to a baseball game and you just it's not fun. The first you're like, well, that guy stops there, and then explain tagging up to someone and it sounds like the dumbest sport. He can't run till he catches it. And then the game we went to, an infield fly rule happened.
Oh,
and she's like, what's that? And I'm like, stop asking me questions. I don't know. No one knows.
It's a rule so they don't get quick, easy out. So they don't drop it on purpose.
Why would they drop it on purpose? We don't understand. Yeah. We don't know. Oh, and a guy reached on a past 3rd strike. And I'm just like, is this game trying to fucking make me kill myself?
Yeah.
Like if the guy drops it when you're out, you can run, but it's still a strikeout for the pitcher. And she's like, so a guy could have like 10 strikeouts in an inning. I'm like, yes.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
You could strike out. Yes.
Technically. My very first Little League baseball game when I was like 7 was a double no-hitter. The 2 pitchers both pitched no-hitters and we lost 1-0 because a guy got walked and stole around.
Steal, pass ball, steal.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
My dad threw like a 2-hitter. He wasn't a pitcher, but a bunch of people got hurt. He threw and he's like, I had to pitch 1 game in high school. I threw a 2-hitter, but we lost 5-4
because he walked so many
I'm like,
people.
What happened? He goes, well, I struck out like 11 guys, but I hit like 10 and walked like 15.
Yeah.
He's just like, I was the guy on the team that could throw the hardest. but I wasn't accurate.
No accuracy
at all.
Yeah.
And he's like, I couldn't do a stretch, so I had to do a full windup every time. So if anyone got hit, they were at third base in 2 pitches.
And nobody was. They had no sort of level of pitching coach to even help him mid game to be like, hey, maybe
game. It was a close game. I mean, to be fair, after you've been hit 3 times and it's your 4th at bat and the same guy is out there and now he's a little more inaccurate because he's tired, you're probably going to like stay a little off the plate.
How quickly would they throw a guy out for hitting in any sort of level baseball game? Yeah.
It depends if he has the ball in his hand. Are you going to go tell him he can't play anymore when he's just hit 20 guys and he has the weapon again?
He doesn't care. It's it's pretty great. Like that, like your dad didn't get the mound charged on because it's just like, he doesn't know what he's doing. He's not supposed to be out there.
It is. No one did. He's in the middle of Iowa. My dad's from a town called Coon Rapids.
Cheers.
They could change the name at this point probably to like Rapids or something. But he told me about how he was right when he graduated high school. He was like traveling and he loved to play pickup basketball. And he was outside of Atlanta and he went to go play pickup basketball in his high school basketball jersey and like didn't know that word had that connotation.
Oh shit.
And he was like, I thought I was going to get like completely jumped because everyone was very mad, rightfully so. And then he's explained where he's from and they thought it was hilarious. And then they just started calling him that. It's a very weird thing to happen. But like, why name? What a name. Just change it now.
There was a kid on who I went to high school with. His name was Steve Niglio. And his nickname might have been a shortened version of his last name,
The Steve Man.
Yeah. And whenever we would play teams like out of our little central Pennsylvania, our hole, our coaches had to remind us, hey, he's Steve today. Because there was nothing.
Yeah.
There was
nothing malicious about
malicious in his nickname, but nobody else would have known that.
It was weird that he changed his name to it.
Yeah,
that's what I thought was weird. But to be fair, his last name was Hitler Fan.
Yeah, and that just doesn't. You don't get. You don't get a good nickname out of that. Go ahead with your.
I thought of another baseball thing. Another thing that in the bit that I wanted. I've talked about this a couple of times, but the Field of Dreams, which is amazing. It's in Dyersville, Iowa. The Field of Dreams.
Oh, the actual
where the set is an actual baseball field. Mm-hmm. With that, there was no set for where they shot this. They shot it at a house.
Yeah.
With a baseball
built
field.
A baseball
built in a cornfield. Yes, all of that. And you can go, but the crazy thing is the field is owned by someone different than the house. And it's free to play on the field. That's a park. But the house tries to charge you if you want to see the house.
Nobody wants to see the house.
Nobody wants to. It's not called House of Dreams.
Yeah, the thing that they had to build so people would come wasn't the house. The house was already there.
So it's just so funny because you go and you play baseball, and then there's like some people that are like, "You want to see where Kevin Costner drank coffee?" And you're like, "No," and they're literally like, "You can see the field from in there."
Yeah. Oh, you have.
And you're like, I'm at it. I'm at the field. If you went. If the Titanic set existed and it was free to go to the Titanic and you could explore the whole thing. Yeah. And then there was one guy that's like, for $10, I'll show you the room he played poker in at the beginning. He won the tickets.
Yeah.
He gets on the boat from in here and you're like, I just hit my head on the propeller. I'm going to stay here.
He wouldn't have made the boat if it wasn't for this.
It's just so insane. To be like, and now it's like an Airbnb and you can, but like they want to charge you to look around. You want to see the kitchen?
This is where he fought with his wife about the mortgage that he couldn't pay.
All right. I want to go to the bleachers and fall off like his dumb kid.
Yeah. I want to walk out of the
You can literally play baseball on the field for free.
For free. Yeah.
And the state pays to upkeep it. And it's beautiful. And they have bats and balls and gloves that you can use. Or for $20 a person, you can go to the porch of a house.
Yeah.
80 yards away. It is. And then But you see people leaving it, and it's embarrassing because they're just like, we kind of fell for that.
It's just like somebody saw that the park was there and just like trying to capitalize on it. Bought the house,
and like, honey, we are going to be living in it. I bought the house from that movie, and she's like, the Amityville Horror, and he's like, way worse. I can't think of a house people would want to pay to go in.
They made the didn't they make the Christmas Story house into a museum? That's just in the middle of Cleveland somewhere.
Yeah. Oh, and you recognize like, well, the stairs, I guess he comes down in the bunny thing.
And like the leg lamp in the window.
Oh yeah, the leg lamp. I do love that movie, but the house still isn't super important.
Yeah.
The leg lamp is more important. You could put the leg lamp in the middle of any window.
In any house and say that it was the Christmas Story house.
But I guess the kitchen table, if they that to me, I'm trying to think of what movie would have a very important house. And with that joke, I've never found a better example than the Titanic, and it still doesn't quite work because it's like, why would the Titanic be? It's not a real place at this point you can visit. Unless you go all the way down to the wreckage. And you get to the wreckage and there's a guy that's like, you want to go see the room? He won the ticket. And not everyone remembers that part either. But I can't think of any other equivalents. Like a famous set.
Yeah.
Where there would be an alternative part of the set.
Now we're just going to get stuck in this.
We will, because I've been stuck in it for a long time.
Yeah, just trying to think of like movies with locations.
Yeah. Do any movies have a location?
It's like, what are big, like, I don't know. I just stuck on Christmas now, like
I couldn't
Griswold house from the Christmas.
But would you go to it? Like, it's not that important because the house doesn't really play. It's more the movie.
Yeah,
exactly. Field of Dreams is kind of singular in that aspect.
In that it's like, a thing of the whole movie is about turning the field into a baseball field.
I went to the set from Waterworld, and the guy was like, "Do you want to see the land?"
They find land. That's what the mission of the movie was, finding land. And you just had to stick with Kevin Costner.
If you're listening to this and you have like a option better than the Titanic, please let me know, because I don't. Because I think a better example could really hit. The Titanic example is almost it's worse than usually you want to heighten. But this one's like slightly worse.
It's less,
I would if it was really about the Titanic, I would use Field of Dreams as my joke example.
Yeah. You're going in the wrong direction. What you need is an encyclopedia to be able to, some sort of movie encyclopedia.
Where did everything go? Oh, there it is. Sometimes my screen does that shifty thing where it goes to another desktop.
There are, were there, I guess there were like different like encyclopedia sets for like there were science encyclopedias and like sports encyclopedias.
Oh yeah. There was like specifics, and then there was like the encyclopedia, and then there were just companies
general
that. Yeah. But you could get like a hyper specific like mammals.
Yeah.
I think you're getting into more and more. It would be the same as like college textbooks.
Mm-hmm.
But for keeping it home, it was just weird and very bulky.
I remember my fourth grade teacher was really cool. He had this rule where if we would ask him just like questions sort of based off what we were talking about in class, he would answer them as long as they were kind of like pertinent to what was originally talked about. So we would go off on these tangents in class, and just the game became trying to see how long we could keep them going, like especially if it was like right before lunch or right before recess or something like that. So it's like, we're in history class and somebody asks a question about like Ben Franklin, and it leads us and then it's like, oh, but how does electricity work? And then somebody's like, oh, well, what about the electricity in my house?
Oh, that's fun.
And then like somebody's like, oh, well, what about the like, how does plumbing work? And like what the teacher would just answer questions as long as they didn't get too ridiculous. And he told us this was like a rule that he set on the first day of school. He was like, I will go down these roads as long as your curiosity takes it, And as long as
you can't like just do a complete leap, there has to be like connections.
Yeah, or like asking like questions that just like nobody could answer.
Yeah,
like, why is the universe?
Sure,
it's just like, all right, back to the original lesson.
Yeah, I like this teacher.
He was great, Mr. Dalabrita.
That's nice. I like that. I like that keeps you engaged in the class as well, even if it is like a little game of
and he knew it. He knew that we would like be keeping our eye on the, and I remember getting like being one of the like kids that people would like poke when like things were slowing down. They'd be like, hey, you're creative. Think of something.
What rhymes with camel? Yeah. Like he's just trying to get into something for sure.
But that was like, I don't know, reminds me of like the encyclopedia curiosity kind of thing.
Yeah. I want to find somewhere really to go with it where I'm not just like, here's the crazy stuff on the Britannica website. I'm mostly like, it's funny you have a website, like really, you're really trying to hang around at this point,
Yeah.
It's just like a graveyard. I
feel like there's, definitely other examples of that, of like, I think I started answering this or asking this question earlier and then totally got off track, but like, like other things that were like slow to adapt, like you like horse and buggy companies when the car came around, and like like just being like, no, we're holding firm, and then like later came out with a car that just like kind of like
this is the horse brand car.
Yeah.
And you're like, we've had cars for a while. It's like 1948.
It's like what the Mustang is.
Maybe it's a car with like actual horses on the like they put like they make it look like the horse and buggy, but it has wheels.
Yeah.
Like, well, we don't even like the ones that are like this.
How many horsepower is it? Oh, just one. Two, maybe two.
There's hooves.
Yeah.
I do remember Blockbuster trying to hang on. Blockbuster did have a better DVD service than Netflix because Blockbuster would let you take it in and exchange it in the store. So if you ordered, like, let's say you ordered Shooting Aces or a movie, I couldn't think of any movies that I would have had around that time. Is that the right movie? The Guy Ritchie movie? Smoking Aces.
Smoking Aces.
Let's say you order Smoking Aces from Blockbuster online. It shows up. You're done watching Smoking Aces. Now you want to go rent American Beauty. So you take Smoking Aces in from the mail into the physical Blockbuster. You can exchange it right there for another movie.
That is a better service.
But that relies on the stores being important.
Being open.
Yeah. And then there was that nice point where Blockbuster could have bought Netflix for like $40 million. Mm-hmm. Like something that where you just like, well, that's how much they pay the kids from Stranger Things now.
Yeah. Did you see they like said what the budget per episode of Stranger Things was?
Like tens of millions, or like $20 million.
It's like $30 million per episode.
How about just don't cancel every show after 2 seasons? I would love to see what happens with Mindhunter, but instead I'm like, the CGI is going to look great. Maybe they just have to make the kids not look older. That's the tough part about having a show that stars kids. Is going to be like, that kid is smoking a cigarette. I don't think they're in 7th grade.
They got to do the Irishman de-aging on them, and it's like
what if the only like de-aging technology is for Robert De Niro? So every kid has like sort of like squinted in eyes because it's like the best de-aging software already is like the De Niro template.
They have to just lay the De Niro over his face, and then he's just 80 years old trying to play a 30-year-old, and he can't even move.
The Al Pacino one is called Ocean's 11 instead of her name just being 11. I think he was in 13, but we understand what I was trying to reference.
It's the franchise.
It's the same people are screaming. He's in the same franchise, honey. Don't turn it off. She's like, the Bluetooth isn't syncing anyways, so it's been tough.
What about 8? What about Ocean's 8? It's in the same world. It's a sister.
That is a level of optimism that I will never, where they're like, we got to leave room for 2 more. So start with Ocean's 8. That way we can make 9 and 10, and then 8 gotta be a trilogy. We should have called this one 10. We could have had 2 more people in it.
Yeah, I mean they didn't need it. They were able to pull off the heist.
That is true. I think they were stealing a necklace from Anne Hathaway.
I think that is correct.
Mm-hmm. I saw Ocean's 8. I thought it was fun.
It was fun.
I like all the Ocean's 12 to me is so funny and like absolutely ridiculous because it has 12 very famous people in it. and the plot to the movie all happens off screen before the movie.
Every single thing.
And then the end of the movie is them going, actually, we already did all of it. And you're like, what are you talking about? So I just listened to Matt Damon talk to this guy for no reason.
They pulled that Julia Roberts thing.
All-time movie stunt. Like, that is how you know there were not a lot of producers on this movie.
I remember hating that so much when I saw the movie for the first time when I was, I don't know, a senior in high school or whenever it came out. I hated it.
It's like a joke you say when you're high with your friends.
Yeah.
Where they're like, is like you watch Die Hard or you watch Pulp Fiction and you're like, has that guy seen Die Hard? Do you know what I mean? You like,
yeah, exactly.
It's like, would he have seen this? Because he looks just like the guy from it. Or like when Marvel people reference Superman or something. But it was so insane. It was to such an extreme degree of Bruce Willis is in it. And he recognizes her as Julia Roberts. And he's like, hi, Julia, how are the kids? It's crazy. She does look a lot like her.
Yeah. Bruce Willis is somebody, he should have been able to be in an Ocean's movie as a character instead of himself.
He is somebody. When I worked at the Apple Store one time, Bruce Willis came in jeans, a torn wife beater, and a leather jacket. And he came in to buy an iPod for his daughter. How crazy is it to dress like we all think you would?
To dress like a Saturday Night Live sketch of Bruce Willis.
Truly, it is. I picture him opening his closet, and it's like like Doug Funny's closet, where you're like, "Do you have 9 sets of the same thing?" It was like a wife beater with a hole in it and a grease stain.
It could have all.
And then he had, a Yankees cap and some sunglasses.
Yeah, the only way it would have been better is if he wasn't wearing any shoes and his feet were bleeding.
It's weird. He came into the Apple Store with that cheese board over himself that had the slurs written on it. And he asked me to fix his iPod.
Everybody was mad. You had
really trying to avoid the paparazzi at that point.
Oh shit, that is a batshit thing from that movie.
Yeah, I think they edited it on TV to where it's just, I don't like you.
I think James Heskey.
It's visual censorship. Yeah.
Yeah, I think James Heskey talks about it, I think, on stage, but it changes it. I think the edited version is I hate everyone or something like that.
Oh, that's so funny.
And then, so then it seems even worse when just like a bunch of guys like attack him for that.
Right. It says like my stomach hurts and everyone's just like beating the shit out of it. What's this guy got indigestion? Not in my neighborhood.
Oh, God. What's your favorite? What is your favorite online encyclopedia? And it could be a random one. Could be a baseball encyclopedia. It could be the Internet Movie Database.
I think it's Wikipedia. It's not really random, but like, let's see if it's still. The other day, I added to my friend's Wikipedia page. He is very nice, and it let me do it right there. It still says it.
Does it say
American film
citation
director
needed?
No, it doesn't. His feature directorial debut, Box Elder, gained national attention. Sklar's most recent film premiered in. He is nice, and that's in the first section of his Wikipedia page. That you can have that right there.
Yeah, I'm a Wikipedia fan. I got really big into IMDb in high school, just learning facts about movies for a few years. Yeah.
I think it's always fun when you're just like, you made this, you want this trivia to be true. It isn't actually true. You go to like the trivia for like Ocean's 11 and it's like, instead of casting Don Cheadle, they were hoping to cast the Olsen twins in one trench coat. And you're like, I know you made that up, but everyone wants it to be like a fun thing. So they are okay with it.
Yeah. I've since, I think my favorite online encyclopedia database is the sports reference pages now, like basketball reference, baseball reference, just finding obscure stats. And yeah,
they're really very powerful. It makes you respect the people who find those stats during broadcasts less. They used to seem like, how did you pull that up so fast? You know, guys on Tuesdays who've scored the most points when they're being guarded by a different position or like something like that. And now you're like, oh, they just typed that into this website.
Yeah.
And it told them right then.
It's who found it before? I guess the same people who are someone's still doing that research that makes it that easy for us to pull it from the website. There's still someone doing
a robot. We'll let robots do this before we'll let them tell you if it's a ball or a strike. We will let robots do this insane stuff before we'll let robots tell you if something's in a square.
Yeah. Exactly. The thing that would actually help the game.
Oh, we're trying to make the game faster. We could eliminate the slowest part. No. But this part leads to arguments. No. Yeah. And it costs people games and money. But then we'd have to have an awkward conversation with 8 people.
People get mad about it.
We'd have to let 8 old, and they wouldn't even lose their job. They would just relay the call from the robot.
Mm-hmm.
They would still have to stand.
They'd still want somebody there doing it.
Right, because fights and shit break out. They would want someone there for safe and out calls at home.
Yeah.
They would need someone there for this. They would want, you just have a little earpiece.
Yeah, they wouldn't even have to say.
And the robot would tell you ball or strike, and you'd make the hand signal.
Yeah. They wouldn't even have to tell us that a robot was making the call.
Right. I would like to know. That is such a, but baseball is just like, we're really trying to be more fun. And like, what are you doing to be more fun? And it's like, well, we're not going to promote any of our players. Nothing. We do not want you to know a thing about Mike Trout, one of the best players of all time, plays in Los Angeles.
Nobody knows him.
That was a bit they did. Yeah. The bit should be, we let people know about him. It's crazy. Baseball is working hard to not progress. It's gonna one or two more World Cups and baseball's in serious trouble on that podium of American sports.
Yeah.
We make a quarterfinal. We win an elimination game in the World Cup. That's gonna buy them 2 years of being better than baseball.
It's already disappeared from most of like cities and stuff. Like nobody in cities played baseball.
Yeah. Well, there's not that area between houses from Hey Arnold anymore. So it's tough to get, baseball takes up a lot of space. You got to have a lot of stuff. Every time, it used to be you watch the Little League World Series and the kids would all have been like kids playing baseball wherever, right? You learn like the facts about them. Baseball's like a rich kid sport now. It used to be like, what's your favorite thing? And they'd be like, I love Sandlot. And now it's like, what are your hobbies? And the kid's like, I mine Bitcoin and on my dad's boat.
Yeah. And you have to go to like special like batting cages and like to be good at baseball.
It's frozen in such a bizarre facial position. I'm so sorry. I don't know why. Maybe it's my internet, maybe the whole internet. I don't know. But yeah, man, that's baseball for you.
That is baseball. Baseball and encyclopedias.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle, is there anything that you want our listeners to know about?
I have a podcast called Never Seen It, where comedians rewrite movies they've never seen. It's going to be coming back pretty soon.
Nice. It's so fun. It's such a fun podcast.
It's really fun. It's very stupid. We got Henry Zabrowski and Emily Heller, Josh Kahneman, Mara Wilson, the Leonard and Jesse Malton, like the Leonard Malton.
Yeah.
We got a lot of people coming up when we come back, and it's going to be fun. So Never Seen It with Kyle.
Nice. Check that out. And you can also listen to Kyle have to put up with me talking about one of my bits at patreon.com/Aaron Hertzog. And if you sign up this week, I'm going to give Kyle half of the Patreon money.
Ooh.
Yeah. That's my goal. I've been
Can
telling
I get it
people,
in Ethereum?
I guess I can figure that out if you need.
It makes me feel bad when you see like an athlete take their whole contract in Bitcoin and then it tanks.
And then it goes, Now
he's like a work from home defensive end.
It only worked out for 50 Cent. That is the only person that getting paid in Bitcoin ever worked out for. And I think he just did it because he didn't know what was going on like years and years ago.
That's how for everyone it worked out for. That's how it was.
Yeah. It was just like, huh? What? I guess. Kyle, thank you for taking this time to just go off on tangents like my fourth grade teacher, David Dalabrita.
Here's my impression of a guy going off on tangents. Yo, I hate these tangents. Okay.
And that's it. That's the show. We'll see you over at the bonus episode on patreon.com/Aaron Hertzog. Goodbye.